Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. 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 Today's gonna be a good day. Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. What a busy week we had this past week. Niraj delivered our Monday MS Tech Bits last week, fabric decision trees, deciding what to use and when to use it. Then on Tuesday, we had our community roundtable. Sorry, the music is kind of throwing me off in the background. Josh isn't here to be able to control it, and we're working on it. Anyway, so Tuesday we had our community roundtable, and then on Wednesday we released Microsoft Fabric, Notebook Sparks, writing new tables to our Lakehouse, and baseball, where I take you through how to be able to write tables to your Lakehouse from Python scripts, and it's so unbelievably easier than anything we've done before. And then this past Monday, our good buddy Daniel Taylor was back again with secure Azure SQL Managed Instance backups with Azure Storage Private Endpoints. So much to see, so much to do. You don't want to miss a thing. If this is your first time making over to Tales from the Field, give us a like and give us a subscribe. You want to make sure you follow everything we're doing with our channel. If you want to interact with the show, it is so easy to be able to do that. Right now, we are streaming over on Twitter on Tales TF the Field. We are streaming on Neeraj Jhaveri, Josh Ludeman, SQL Balls, and then we're also over in LinkedIn under SQL Balls. And of course, we are on our hub for Tales from the Field over on YouTube. If you make a comment on any one of those streams, one of my amazing co-hosts will see that, and they will add your conversation to the screen, so that way we can be a part of it and you can be a part of the show. And of course, speaking of my amazing co-hosts, before we go any further, let me introduce them. I am joined by Andreas Padilla, and in for Josh Ludeman is Daniel Taylor, and he is a walking, talking matrix of leadership, our Optimus Prime. It's your friend of mine, Neeraj Jhaveri. Andreas, Father's Day this past weekend, buddy. What'd you do? You're on mute. Yeah. Hey, Andreas, yeah, there we go. Oh, hold on. I'm going to do it. There we go. Okay. You're unmuted. Josh isn't here, but you went on mute just for him.
we can see the cracks in the house, without
Absolutely.
him. Yeah,
I know.
Josh, we miss you. But we had a great weekend. We had a staycation. We did a little staycation. And we went to a nice hotel about an hour and a half ago up from here. We were on the beach. So I basically was in the pool doing races, swimming underwater, picking up toys, and throwing up my kids for about 5 hours. And then I went home, back to the hotel, had a drink, and passed out.
No wonder you're in such good shape, buddy. That's a pretty consummate workout right there. You take about 20, 30 pounds and you just throw it for 5 hours.
It's like throwing a medicine ball.
I was going to say that explains those guns. Pow.
Good weekend. Thanks for asking. Yeah.
No problem. Dan, that was a nice frog stroke that you had going on there.
Thanks.
So Andres, I did want to ask you, so you're close to the Great Wolf Lodge. When I lived in Virginia, they had a Great Wolf Lodge really close by in Williamsburg, Virginia. We took the kids once when they were little. It was so much fun. I have tons of great memories of that place. Have you ever gone to the Great Wolf Lodge by you with your kids?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to look that up. Man, what is this?
Oh yeah, so I was gonna say it made me think immediately of like the Fort Wilderness that Disney has. They've got this really nice like cabin themed thing, but it's a resort in and of itself. It's a really big, massive hotel. I think it's over in the Fort Lauderdale area or somewhere around there, and they've got an indoor water park. But like some the rooms have really cool beds. You could get like bunk beds for your little kids. So that way it's a nice bed for a kid, but mom and dad have a nice big bed in that room, but it makes it seem like it's kind of a tree fort. It's extra fun for the kids. I definitely check that out if you haven't been before.
I'm
It's
gonna
cool
do it.
stuff.
Oh, that looks. I'm looking at the website right now. It looks amazing.
Oh
Adventure park, indoor water park. I mean, this was built for me, not for the kids.
I know, right? Well, they've got a water slide that you can take the kids on. They've got like a big indoor like water park kind of thing that you. Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I need grandkids just so I can go again and play in this place. Not anytime soon. Get through college first, kids. Have that degree and a good job, because I'm not paying for the grandkids. That's mom and dad's job. Woo. All right, Dan, you looked a little worried there. So Niraj, I'm going to go to you because Dan's on mute. Niraj, how was your Father's Day? What'd you all do? I saw the video you put up, man. By the way, great corn, great kebabs. That all looked delicious. What kind of was that a curry sauce that was on like
Yes.
and vegetables?
Yep, curry sauce. So we had around 35 people who came to my place for barbecue. I mean, the weather on Friday said, oh, it's going to rain. Then at Friday evening, they said it's not going to rain. So we're like, okay, we'll move it to Saturday because Sunday we wanted to do our own thing. Turns up the whole weather forecast, every news channel said no rain. 5 o'clock it started pouring. So that's how we ended up. For like 15 minutes, it just poured. But after that, it was really nice. So when people started coming in, we had a drive, nice weather. People hanged out. I mean, friends hanged out till 12:30. We were playing, drank a lot. Then we started playing cards, and then went on music, a little bit of karaoke. And then I turned up that Sunday morning. I had a flat tire. So I spent my morning getting the flat tire done. Spent a couple of hours. Took to Costco,
I saw that, man.
And then I got it back.
Nice. Well, hey, good job working that flat tire. I saw
the
that
kids
on the
wanted
video
to,
as well. So Dan, how about you? How about your Father's
Day? And then
Day?
Sunday evening, the kids wanted to do some shopping, going out next week. So.
Oh, okay. No, that's good because I saw that you were out at the end of your video. You were doing shopping for the kids. What'd you get for the kids? I think we got a bit of a delay going on with Niraj, and he now looks frozen. So Dan, I'm going to toss it over to you. How was your Father's Day?
Well, that's a bummer because I wanted to hear Niraj say transform and roll out, but we'll have to wait for that. So, no, it was great. Sunday, we had some family over. I woke up early, played some Star Wars, Jedi Survivor. Saturday, that was after a late Saturday night because us and 17,000 plus friends went to see Duran Duran. This weekend, it's a completely different. It's Misfits and Megadeth, but it was excellent. They closed with Rio and Save a Prayer. So just consummate performers. And it's someone that, we can all take for performance. They were just awesome. So it was a great weekend. Spent it, hung out with Parker a little bit. Just a good weekend. Just low key. Yeah. Excellent. Missy made me shepherd's pie, which is one of my favorite dishes. So.
Yeah, I was going to say my go-to has always been breakfast for the family. I used to take us to the Polynesian Resort, but the problem is it is just so hard to be able to book anything at Disney. It feels like the last couple of years, everything Disney goes in a heartbeat. And so it's been 2019 since I've been able to get that. So we go to Cafe Tutango instead, which I absolutely love. My plan is always, as I'm putting together Mother's Day for the ladies, I make a quick call to set up the reservation for Father's Day. And I can typically get us in there, and they have this unlimited brunch special. Everybody just has a great time. They just go down the menu. I did not eat all the food that I pictured. I took pictures of a lot of people's plates. I had about 4 dishes myself. But those Bananas Foster's waffles, those are always just so good.
I was going to ask you, did you at least eat the Bananas Foster's waffles? Because I actually went, if I could have, I would put that on loop. Like, that looks so good. I was like, wow.
It is. And here's the thing, right? The whipped cream on top of it, it's a cinnamon sugar whipped cream. So it's a Bananas Foster waffle with a cinnamon sugar whipped cream on top. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was delicious. I was good. I was so good. As a matter of fact, I had some tacos, I had some meat dishes, and I had some Brussels sprouts. And then I was like, and I love their crispy Brussels sprouts, but then I was like, bring on the waffles. All right, so it's not waffles that we're here for. It's the Azure Data Community. So we should probably get over to the roundtable. Let's see. That's not the view I'm looking for. StreamYard hit it on me. There we go. First up, I've got Neeraj Jhaveri using Azure Databricks with Microsoft Fabric in OneLake.
So one of the questions that we usually get is, can I use Databricks with Fabric? And this was a lot of comments coming up. So Aaron, I just found this article by Aaron Merrill. Yeah, he goes over how to use Databricks in OneLake. So he's showing you how you can link up your OneLake with your SaaS. I mean, the OneLake in the bottom of it. It links it up to your Databricks, and then you can bring your data and you can do the medallion architecture like gold, silver, bronze, and that. He's showing you examples how to do that whole thing and really nicely explain it out how you can connect your Databricks to OneLake and get whatever you're looking for to do on Fabric directly.
No, that's fantastic. No, I was going to say, there's so many great things about OneLake. One of the things I'm having fun with, so this is a bit of an Easter egg for the video I'm going to drop tomorrow. But one of the things I do is I show how I can scrape some data. I can get it in a notebook over in Fabric, but then I can write it out to my lakehouse. I can also write it out as files. And if I go, I don't want to use that, I could delete it out of my lakehouse. I could also go and I could grab it and download it, or I could delete it in OneLake. And it just shows the capability for you to be able to play around with these things. It's really, really nice. And I was going to say Fabric just gives us so many different possibilities to play with. Speaking of, I'm going to stick with that subject. And the blog that kind of inspired me for the video I'm going to do, but I'm doing something different. And I'm doing a different portion of LangChan as well. But Hitesh Hadaja, my goodness, what a fantastic article. So this is Spark, Azure OpenAI, and LangChan, a hands-on case study. What he does is he starts out and he uses Fabric. He provisions a lakehouse and a notebook. Well, he's got a notebook. He'll bring in the lakehouse a little bit later because you can create a notebook without a lakehouse and then attach the lakehouse. He uses beautiful soup, and what he does is he adds 2 URLs from different Microsoft Fabric content. He then takes that. Now, this is interesting. This is where we're going to twist. I'm not leaving Fabric, but I love this because he does this all within a notebook just to show the versatility and the interaction that you have from Fabric notebooks. He connects to a blob container, and he writes out his file as a text file. The next thing he does is he then takes that and he creates a data integration pipeline to be able to copy that text data into his OneLake environment. So that way he can then consume it very easily within Python. Then we go over and we go to OpenAI, and he imports the specific modules we need for OpenAI. There's a little pip install for LangChan in OpenAI, which I'm using, and it works beautifully. And then what he does is he brings in the data as a Spark data frame. He cleans it up. After cleaning it up, he also walks through a little bit of how you could use Key Vault instead of just having your open API keys out in the open. Then after that, he creates a model, and then he sends it some information where he says, hey, I want you to take these 2 articles and I want you to summarize them. Give me a 2 to 3 sentence maximum summarization of OneLake, and then 2 to 3 sentences on the shortcuts in OneLake. And he gets his results right here. And it is absolutely cool. All of this works. So one of the things that's really fun to do is if you are inspired or if you see a blog like this, it's a really great thing to take it, walk through it, just to be able to see what's possible. And I had Dan working with me a little bit earlier. We were looking at some of these things together. And it's a lot of interesting stuff to be able to play around with. But there's a whole bunch of possibilities, and there's some really cool stuff that we're working on our team with some folks who have been on the show and some folks who might not have been on the show yet. But hopefully we get to show you that maybe in the July, August timeframe. But a lot of great stuff, especially with OpenAI and Fabric coming around. Next up, I have Mr. Andreas Padilla, scaling strategies for large Azure Cognitive Services deployments.
Oh, great article by RK. ire. And this actually hits the spot. I've been dealing with a number of customers who've been asking me best practices for scaling performance when it comes to cognitive services. And then it's just not one cognitive service that you have to keep. Maybe there's scenarios where you're just using one feature within the cog services family or catalog, but some time and time again we see them joined together. You're a question and answer feature paired with or an orchestrator, paired with a translator, paired with maybe a speech to text service. What I want you to understand here is that there's limits. There's limits to how many transactions per second. There's peak load. There's you want to start estimating the amount of traffic that goes in with your whole solution. So what you get out of this article, great blog, is what are the considerations? What do you have to start understanding to measure out your peak load, and how to balance that all out so that you're not underperforming, that you're properly scaling up and scaling down, so you're not breaking the bank. And they actually give you tips of how to do performance testing, basically the whole 9 yards when it comes to understanding how to scale, how to tie in the limitations that you had within the cog services. And there are certain cog services that have that auto scale feature, which is really nice. That way it just does it for you right out the door. You don't have to worry about anything. Just say, here, auto scale it for me, enable it. If it gets too heavy, there's too many transactions per second, it starts to auto scale for you. And this is one of those things with OpenAI and paired with cognitive services. How do I balance that solution? How do I squeeze the most orange juice and performance out of it?
Fantastic. Nice stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's always important to understand, and people don't often think about it, but if you're in that world, you are definitely thinking about how you scale those services. Next up, I have Mr. Dan Taylor. The wrap way to monitor SQL Server always on availability groups.
Mm.
And Dan's on mute now, or his headset's not working.
That's Josh. He's replacing Josh.
I was gonna say Josh is just haunting us right now with all of this. Dan, you're gonna work on your audio. I'm gonna try and run through this for you. So I didn't necessarily get a chance to read this beforehand, but this is a blog by Edwin Sarmentino, and Edwin is a good friend of mine. Oh, Dan, are you back?
Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, and I apologize. My neighbor is deciding to run their hurricane generator test today while we're doing this. But it's that time of year, folks. Yeah, no, this is a great article. And I saw the Twitter tweet by Edward, and it caught me. It just caught me, the wrap process, reliability, availability, and performance. And the article goes through each three of those categories and how you can think of them, and some of the ways that Edward looks at performance tuning and availability. Edwin, sorry. Oh my God. Edwin, when you see me, I owe you a milk for saying your name incorrectly. I apologize, my friend. That names are everything, and I apologize. So I love the way each individual portion of that is broken down with the reliability, the availability, and performance, and how to some of the key metrics that he looks at when doing this. And he's one of the experts out there. So when I saw this on Twitter, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And it's easy to remember. So, yeah.
And Edwin always does a great job. He's got additional resources. He's a great conference speaker. He's got, I believe he's got a YouTube channel as well. He's just an all around class act. So,
and I was actually shocked that I think it's the first time we featured him on this show. So I'm happy that I was able to see that.
I'd have to look at our historical stuff, because I know that I've at least used his travel guide before, but
Okay,
it's been a
all right.
while, and I think it was either around the past summit for international travel back in 2022. So it may have just been a while, but yeah, I mean, Edwin's just such a great member of the community. Absolutely good stuff. Next up, I have Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri, introducing Azure Open AI on your data in public preview. I saw this when I was playing around, Neeraj. I am so excited about this. Go for it, buddy.
So, yep, nice article by Andy. Just, I mean, this is just came in. I think they just released it up a week before, where you can use OpenAI and the Chat GPTs and GPT-4 models right on your data. I mean, he's showing an example in the YouTube video that is up there, and then he goes over how what are the key use cases on it. And how to, I mean, he even shows step by step how to do the whole thing, which is really a great way to do it. I mean, how it works. This, I was like, I don't know, was it Brad with you or maybe with Andreas? I was going to create a video where I can use it up on OpenAI itself and bring your own data and see what the insights are on this one. So really nicely. I mean, this was a demand that a lot of people were asking. I mean, if I check the commands in OpenAI forums, a lot of people were asking this thing, and I think they are now good to go for public preview.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is so exciting. I can't wait to play around with this. Right now, the data sources are somewhat limited to cognitive services, an Azure Blob storage account, and then also to be able to upload files. And I'm not sure what the size limit is specifically on those, but I think we're talking CSV files or text files. We're not talking Parquet files or Delta files at this point in time, because there would be multiple files that have to be associated with that. But for that, you're going to want to go into blob storage or something of that nature. And again, I don't know what those limitations are, but I would imagine we're definitely going to have a video on this, because this is going to be a super fun thing to do. I know we could find a sample data set to be able to play around with this. Like I said, when I saw this in the OpenAI workspace where we can play around with it with the playground, I immediately went, you're here to do other things. Focus on that. but oh, did I want to play with this? This is going to be a lot of fun. So again, sticking with this theme, and so one of the things that I want to make sure that people realize is OpenAI. Whether you're looking at this like a wheel or like a car or like a horse, whatever tool analogy you want to use, these tools are going to help us to be able to integrate with our existing tools to be able to make things easier. That's where you're going to see a lot of application of this. And on that scenario specifically, our good friend Buck Woody, who's been on the show with us multiple times. Buck is, of course, an applied data scientist over on the SQL Server product group. He has this great blog out, Securing Your AI Using SQL Server Machine Learning with Microsoft Azure OpenAI services. And so one of the great things about this is Buck didn't write this for SQL 2022, which is typically the advent. Buck actually wrote this for 2017 to show, hey, we've had these machine learning services available since SQL 2017. And even in 2017, you can integrate your existing workloads with OpenAI. He actually he walks you through a scenario through using pre-trained generative transformers, GPT, and he's using GPT-4 specifically for this. He's using SQL Server. He's got his pre-requirements to make sure that we've got them installed. And then he's got example code. So this example code that he has will open up over to a GitHub repo where he's got a notebook. And you can walk through this. And so he does an end-to-end tutorial showing how you can integrate these things. And he's got the code sitting right here. I'm going to click on that real quick. And the notebook will load up. And you can go and you can grab this and you can use this in Azure Data Studio to be able to go against your 2017, your 2019, or your 2020 component, as long as you have the right components installed. So the great thing to keep in mind is there's developer editions of all of this, and developer edition is free. So if you want to, go get developer edition, install it on a virtual machine, make sure you've got the required services. And this is a great thing to be able to play around with. So this is something that you definitely want to go do. Buck is a consummate professional. And when he puts his demos together, they just work. And so he wouldn't have this out here for you to be able to execute if it didn't work. So you want to be able to go and walk through this.
You know what I love about Buck's posts is if there's any sort of code, he doesn't hide anything. He shares it with us all. So you can go learn it. You could bring Buck in and pay him $1 quadrillion an hour, but he's willing to share everything, because I hear that's Buck's going right now, $1 quadrillion an hour.
I did not realize that. I'll let him know that you've been advertising his hourly rate at a quadrillion. I got to tell you, I will do it for a tenth of that.
A tenth of that. So
Easily,
1/10
maybe even less. Maybe even less. Cool billion, and I'm yours for the day.
And you did a video a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, about setting up that SQL Server instance on your machine really quick. So you can churn and burn with those dev editions, right? To test this stuff out. I don't know if that would work with this, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm on the Linux components using containers, so I'm not sure if the data science services are available on that. That's something I would have to double check, but I do know that Developer Edition is free to download, and there are multiple versions of Developer Edition that people have access to if they have an MSDN license. So find the one that's compatible with your environment, go and download it, throw it on a VM. You could easily check this out. Absolutely. Good stuff, Dan. I appreciate you. All right, Andreas, I've got you up next.
Great article by Henry Zhang.
There we go. Harness the power of large language models with Azure Machine Learning.
By Henry Zhang. Thank you, Henry Zhang, for this article. Now, this feature, it's still in private preview, but I can't wait for this to come out. This was showcased during Build, and I want a month of just showcasing on our show all the great stuff that came out of Build, and this is one of those that I just wanted to definitely highlight out there. Like I said, it's in private beta, but it was showcased by Greg Bauer, Zeth Fares, and Daniel Schneider during Build. And what this new feature, it's called Prompt Flow, and what it helps us do with large language models, you're going to tie some prompt engineering into the mix with it. However, there's things and humps that we have to work through. You have to experiment with different prompts. There's maybe complex logic and control flow built into the mix, so you can create effective prompts. Maybe you're pairing it with some data in Cosmos DB or an Azure Search Index or an SQL database. Then you have to go back with those prompts, evaluate them, monitor them, refine them, optimize them, and then easily deploy them to your applications. With this new feature that's in private preview, it's going to make that whole life cycle a lot easier. It's going to make it so you can easily track, reproduce, visualize, compare your prompts, that you can collaborate with other Azure machine learning scientists. And you'll be able to make it you'll get a simplified view of the flow design in a notebook type of style. And basically the whole prompt flow development is going to make it a lot easier and sleeker for you. If you want to join this, there's a link down at the bottom on this article. It's called the Azure ML Insiders, where you can apply, see if you can get it in private preview. But I just wanted to showcase this because I can't wait for this feature to come out. It's great.
Yeah, and that address is aka.ms/Azure ML Insiders. Even if you don't go to the article, if you don't click on it, if you type in aka.ms/Azure ML Insiders, that will take you to the forum to be able to try and get it into part of the preview. Great stuff, Andres. Love it. Love it. All right. So next up, I have Dan. And Dan, you have Mr. Grant Fritchie connecting to PostgreSQL, learning Postgres with Grant.
So this is an older article, right? It's from 2021. And the reason why I shared this, there's a reason why I did it. Grant just put out a post about inserting and manipulating data in Postgres, but it's part of this series. So I wanted to go back and show folks, because this is, once again, last week I was mentioning about cheat sheets and how I love having cheat sheets. Well, this is another group of articles that I've been going over as I've been going through my PostgreSQL journey as well. And Grant just does a good job of here running Postgres, connecting. So it's the first step in it, but this is the first step in many articles that Grant's done here. So there's some really good stuff. And that's the reason why I shared number 1 versus the one he just put out today or on June 12th or something. It was about a week ago. So yeah, I just wanted to share this one. And then down at the bottom of the page, as you go through the connecting up and using Postgres, there's additional links to some of the future articles that he's done as well. So another great article, and Grant's, he's been part of the community for a long while now.
Yeah, former president of PASS. I mean, all kinds of good stuff. Grant's such a great guy. MVP for well over a decade at this point. At least I believe he is. And that's really really great. What I love about that, if you look closely at those commands, that was using Docker. The same exact commands that I used in that video to be able to set up your SQL manager or your SQL environment for 2022 developer. That you could use that same exact environment to be able to host that. Great stuff. I love it. Niraj, I have you up next. How to use ChatGPT to write a blog post. Easy step-by-step guide.
So this came up this weekend when my daughter was going through a couple of my blogs, and she's like, "Yeah, why don't you ask ChatGPT, because that would be easier." And she gave me this blog. She's like, "You can ask ChatGPT what do you want to write it up, put an intro in there. They can write every single thing in there, and that would give you the whole inside of it." I mean, it's cheating around to it, but that's all she was showing me up. Like, you can just put down the feed it to it, and your blog is ready to go. You don't have to waste that much time, and you'll have a nice, good-looking blog that you can just publish it out right away. So that's how she gave me a shortcut to do it.
You know what?
But nice
I was going to say that this gets back into the conversation that we had about it's a tool. Use it, right? My wife has used this to be able to, because sometimes you get stumped as you're writing a letter. She's used it to be able to write letters of recommendation. She's used it to be able to help with the verbiage when we've got to deal with some folks or do something in a professional capacity. So a lot of good stuff to be able to use this. But I do want to say a quick reminder. Today it's due, so I need to make sure and get it written and get it out there. But we're supposed to have our T-SQL Tuesday blog post. So if anybody has anything they want to put together for the T-SQL Tuesday prompt, make sure and do that. I will try and get that posted not long after we get off of this. I'm going to do a quick write-up, and who knows, maybe I'll use ChatGPT to do that. All right, so nice. I'm up next, and I've got sorry, I'm looking for mine right now. I've got Kevin Hill via SQL Server Central. Again, SQL Server Central, great place to go to. You want to make sure you're checking it out. And Kevin has one under Dallas DBA, still storytelling for DBA and other technical. And this is a beautiful, wonderful thing to think about, because I've talked with the guys here on Tales from the Field about this. I've talked with other colleagues before. People will often come to me and say that they really like my presentations, and they'll say, "What is your advice?" And the thing is, I do not look at a presentation like it's a technical presentation. I look at a technical presentation like it's a 3-act play. You got to have a hook. You got to have a situation that you're going to do. You got to set it all up in the first act. The second act, I've got to create some level of trouble that we're in, that we need to get out of. And in the third act, I need to be able to deliver that. And it needs to have a build up, and you need to be able to have that conclusion at the end. Kevin breaks this down into the hook, the stakes, the characters, the plot, and the resolution. All incredible things to keep in mind if you're doing this, because this is an absolutely critical skill set to have, to be able to translate the technical to something that people want to hear about and to be able to communicate about. So I loved it that Kevin did this, because even though it's a technical blog, it's more soft skills. And that's a big passion of mine, because that's really critical to what we do in our jobs. All right. So we are almost down to the last two. Andreas, I got you up next. Near-time anomaly detection with Delta Live Tables and Databricks machine learning.
Now, speaking of passions and something that's really close to my heart, Databricks. You know, and I haven't posted anything on Databricks in a while, but I wanted to come back to it. And I'm like, oh man! And I found this great article by Avinash and Satish on how to incorporate real-time anomaly detection with Delta Live Tables. But here's the beauty of this article, is that it's the end-to-end solution. They make it where they give us the notebooks, they give us the sample, the end-to-end solution that shows takes a Kaggle data set, a credit card inflowing data set, where we landed in bronze, we landed in silver, we landed in gold. There's continuous ingestion with autoloader. And it shows us how to set up that whole pipeline, how to set up the model so it's trained, create the model, then take the model, pop it into your Delta Live table so you can do anomaly detection. I couldn't ask for anything more. I can't wait to get my hands into this sample and deploy it. And you're going to go to zero to hero. And I hope an hour, 2 hours of setting this up.
So Andres and Niraj, quick question for you. Could you use your out of the box video that you all did a couple weeks ago to set up to do this demo? Or would that be overkill for this?
The
Maybe
analytics
yes.
in a box, I think, was
The
specific
analytics
to
in a
Synapse.
box?
Yeah, I think that was specific to Synapse. I'm not,
Synapse.
or
That's
are you
specific.
setting up the, yeah.
That is more specific to Synapse, Dan, but we can add a pattern into it, looking into this demo that is up there. Yes,
But
we can add that on.
great proposal, Dan. I don't
Yeah.
see why we can't add in that, hey, grab a model, deploy it, and then do a streaming pipeline or a
Yep.
live within Synapse. I think it's
Great
a great
stuff.
idea.
Great idea.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Pattern number
Or-
6, Dan. Thank you.
All right.
We'll give it to Dan.
So there we go, Dad. Last but certainly not least, it is Dan Taylor with Azure Data Factory Integration Runtimes by Coon Verbeck.
And we got the name right this time, Coon. Thank you for, and I remember it's like the end of Raccoon. So I was like, that sticks with me now. So I have to buy him a beer when I see him, or whiskey. So I've been getting a lot of questions, and actually this is for some of the viewers of the video I did on the using Ola Hollinger scripts. There was a question at the end there about how do I set up Azure integrated runtime? How would I use them? So this is one of the links I would recommend reading for understanding some of that. It's a good starting point about the Azure integrated runtime, the self-hosted integration runtime. Boy, those are mouthfuls. And then where to set them up, how to set them up, what the some of the brief differences about them. Coon goes into a real good synopsis of that, so you can get an idea of where you can go, and then you can dig in a little bit deeper if you need to. Whether you install it, where you install your Azure integration your self-hosted integration runtime, and that do you put it close to your data? Do you put it in Azure? Those couple of questions. So it's a good article. Great article.
Yeah, great article.
Excellent. Great stuff. All right. Well, so that leads us over to the wrap up. I was going to say we've got a couple things to plug. So, I'm going to the SQL Saturday Austin user group. And so keep that in mind. We're going to get the music right. I promise we're going to get it. And Josh is missing in action today. He is really let's see. We got some audio issues with Andreas. I'm going to put him on mute real quick. But it is time, right? Make your plans for November, the week before Thanksgiving. You want to be there at the beautiful Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort on the beautiful grounds of Universal Studios. We're going to be there. So you want to come and check it out. There's going to be a full day pre-con with myself, Neeraj Jhaveri, Josh Ludeman, Buck Woody on Microsoft Fabric. We have plenty of other sessions that have been selected as well. We will be at the conference. We'll be participating in the Monday Night Diner Round, the Birds of a Feather luncheon on Wednesday. It's going to be a real full week. The networking event more than likely on Thursday as well. So you definitely want to make plans to be there, interact with us, interact with the other product groups and the other Microsoft MVPs. It is going to be a fantastic week. We will have content dropping tomorrow. We have already alluded to that and hinted about that a little bit more. So stay tuned for that. Check out Dan's video that he dropped on Monday. Next Tuesday, we have our roundtable once again. Keep in mind, there's a story in every one of you, and go out, participate in the community, and we need to go get our T-SQL Tuesday blog done. So, guys, anything else?
No.
Just next week will be my third week in a row here. We've never done that, so let's see what happens when you say my name 3 times in a row.
When I say your name 3 times in a row, we'll see. All right.
By the way, we are going to be off the July 4th, right? I mean, that roundtable would be.
Yeah, we should probably start cluing in folks to that. Yes, so we will be off. We are taking off the week of the 4th of July. No new content drops. We'll be on vacation. There may be some additional vacation drops though, like we did this past week. So we'll have to see. That's everything I can think of though, right, guys?
Yep.
All right. I appreciate y'all. Take care of one another out there. Be good to each other. Bye.
Uh,